this week's Parsha, we learn about the Exodus from Egypt, the Yetzias Mitzrayim, how many years ago the Jewish people, led by Moshe, left the land of Egypt despite the opposition of Pharaoh and his government, who had subjected the Jews to many years of harsh labor and terrible living conditions. On one great day, on the 15th of Nisan, it says that with the help of God, Moshe led the Jews out of Egypt. What's interesting to note is how many of our daily rituals, mitzvahs, are associated with the Exodus of Egypt. Not only daily, but weekly and periodically, we have many reminders about Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus of Egypt. Just to name a few, the Kiddush we make on Friday night, the Shabbos we say Zecher Yetzias Mitzrayim, to remember the Exodus of Egypt. The Tefillin that we put on a daily basis. It says in the last verse of this week's Parsha, the reason we put Tefillin on, Ki b'chozek yad hotzianu Hashem mitzrayim, because God took us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And of course, the famous holiday Pesach, Passover, which we commemorate because God took us out of Egypt. It seems to be almost a disproportionate amount of attention paid to the Exodus, to the Yetzias Mitzrayim. Why is it that so many mitzvahs, so many of our rituals are traced back to the Exodus of Egypt? And to take a deeper look at it, we must remember what the first commandment of the Ten Commandments are. The Ten Commandments, which are in the Torah, the giving of the Torah at Har Sinai. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your God. He said to us at Mount Sinai, Asher hotzeisicham eretz Mitzrayim, who took you out of the land of Egypt, which seems to be a puzzling statement that God would make. I am the Lord your God who took you out of the land of Egypt. Is this his greatest claim to fame, that he's going to say, I, the Lord your God who took you out of Egypt? It would seem to be much more appropriate to say, I am the Lord your God who created heaven and earth. Why is God specifically saying, I am the Lord your God who took you out of Egypt? And the truth of the matter is, the reason why God says this to us in the first commandment, and we have so much associations in the Torah traced back to Egypt, of the Exodus precisely, is because when the Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus took place, he showed us something very profound, and that is that God is not only the God of the world on a macro level, on a global level, but rather he's a personal God to us. I am the Lord your God who took you out of Egypt. And indeed, Egypt is not necessarily only a geographical location, but Egypt, as the commentaries teach us, is a state of confinement that we find ourselves in. And many people are in all sorts of different states of confinement, some in health issues, some with economic issues, some all sorts of different issues, but it's traced back to this confinement that is represented by this word Mitzrayim. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your God who took you out of Egypt, out of your personal state of confinement. He is our personal God. We have a personal relationship with this God that created heaven and earth. And that's why to remember the Exodus is so important, says the Nachmanides in this week's Parsha. Because every time we put tefillin on, or we make Kiddush on the Shabbos, or we celebrate Pesach, what we are doing is we are reaffirming that God is our personal God, who not only created heaven and earth, but has an active interest in what we do on a daily basis. Folks, many times we see that we feel alone because we are so confronted by so much chaos and troubles that afflict our society. Let us remember the Exodus of Egypt, and let us remember that God is with us not only on a macro level, global level, but I am the Lord your God who has a personal relationship with you. Have a wonderful Shabbos.